My girlfriend had a three-way with her coworker, and now she wants me to attend their corporate party as a plus. However, she thinks I am not supporting her career because I refuse to go. My girlfriend of roughly 2.5 years' work is planning their usual annual company Christmas party where employees and their partners/spouses are invited to attend for an overnight stay, meal, party, open bar, etc. I've never been to the previous events due to a work commitment last year, and the year prior, we were still quite a new couple. She works for a large nationwide recruitment agency. Each year, a different city office hosts, and those not from that region normally stay in a fancy hotel booked by the company. They are in the process of confirming the total number of guests, and she'd like me to go. As a heads up, she told me that on her first work Christmas party, after a few drinks, she went to an after-party in one of the guys' hotel rooms and engaged in a threesome with two dudes from her office as a bit of a bucket list experience. After thinking about it, I've said to her I'd rather give it a miss. She's told me it's important to her from a career perspective as it's good for her image, get to meet in person with people she works with from other regions and can socialize with the senior management, and that nearly everyone from work partners attend. We have been arguing all last week, and I have been accused of not supporting her career as I've never attended her previous work events, which have been immature and shaming her. I really honestly don't think any of this. It was something she had done prior to meeting me. We do hold differing views on intimacy. As for me, it is always something special, where she views intimacy as something that's just a bit of fun. This isn't an issue and has actually been good for us as we've learned a lot from each other. I'm even comfortable with the fact she still works alongside these two guys. I know she has had a lot more sexual partners than me, but as she has always viewed casual intimacy when she was single as a bit of fun, and I know deep down it wasn't meaningful. Accepting a sexual history is one thing. People are entitled to intimacy life. I'm cool with that. The past is the past, but this feels different as it feels like the present, and socializing at the same party with my girlfriend and the two males that have been intimate with her is a different task. It makes me feel awkward/uncomfortable. I thought it would be easier to say I'm not attending. Having asked if others at her work knew, she said yes, as one did spread rumors afterward and also has been office banter and nicknames about it. She said it doesn't bother her. She is confident in the type that would own it. The place gives me finance bro vibes. The thought of shaking hands, making small talk, and share a table for a meal with guys who have had intimacy with my girlfriend is difficult. For context, we are in a good place. We rarely argue, and we have recently been talking about marriage, having kids, etc. We really have a great relationship all around, and we don't want to do anything that would harm her relationship or career. Update. 3 months later, to summarize the original post, my girlfriend and I have been together for nearly 3 years. She invited me to her company's annual getaway Christmas party this year, which would involve me needing to socialize with coworkers, including two guys she had a threesome with as an ONS before we were dating. I wasn't uncomfortable with her sexual history itself, but I felt awkward about attending the party and being at the same table/event with these guys, especially since they still sometimes joke about it and the use of what I consider disrespectful nicknames for her. On top of that, I was worried there was a possibility I could end up being the butt of these jokes too, which made the idea of attending feel even more uncomfortable. I initially declined to go, leading to tension and an argument between us. One point I just wanted to clarify based on some of the comments and DMs is that I'm not ashamed of her past at all. Before we started dating, I knew due to being part of an overlapping social group, she had an intimacy-positive outlook, and she was open about the fact that she had been with around 50 guys. That was never an issue for me. We may well have different experiences as I've only been with 3 long-term GFS prior, but it wasn't something that held me back from pursuing and starting a relationship with her, and not something that has ever been an issue. What made the situation feel different was that I'd be in a room, possibly sitting at the same table for dinner with people who are still actively referencing the past experience. I've never had to deal with that face-to-face, and the idea of those same people making jokes with me in the room or even about me made the situation feel more socially uncomfortable. So update. After some deep conversations and listening to each other's point of view, my girlfriend helped me understand her perspective more clearly. She expressed that being the only person from her office without a partner would make her feel awkward and isolated and possibly lacking social support during the event. She was also surprised and somewhat upset when I changed my mind about attending, as it raised a small doubt that I was viewing this with the idea of shaming her. We also had a constructive conversation around her views on intimacy positivity. Her confidence in celebrating that part of her life has helped me have a different perspective. She reassured me that any teasing and nicknames at work don't bother her. So why should it bother me? Any terms like SLUT should not be seen as insults. Instead, they are something to be proud of and offer her and to own and reclaim a woman's sexuality without shame, especially since men involved in stuff like that are held to a different standard than her. If she can be proud of herself while confidently standing by her choices, then I realized I should also wholeheartedly support that. Anyway, I've decided to go to the event. I still have some reservations, but I realize it's important to show my support in her work life. I trust her, and if she's comfortable in that environment, I want to be too. I'm happy with how open and unapologetic she is about her views, and I don't want to let my discomfort or something as trivial as the possibility of being the target of jokes get in the way of supporting her fully. We've had some great discussions about careers, intimacy, relationships, women, and society that have only made our relationship stronger. Update 2. 5 months after. Anyway, the venue was pretty fancy in a nice hotel decked out for Christmas with decent food, live music, and an open bar. To be honest, my work nights out are pretty low-key in comparison, and also was good to get a free meal a night away. Meeting her co-workers went about as well as it could be. Since my girlfriend works in a company with different teams in different cities, the tables were arranged like this for the meal, so we ended up sitting with her team, including the 2 co-workers I've been worried about. Most people were friendly and welcoming. Although I do have to admit the company does have that finance bro vibe I thought it would have. There are many younger people on good salaries with large commission bonuses who I can see are quite competitive, and admittedly, that type of person and environment isn't my scene. I'd find it pretty toxic, but I get that it's not my industry, and that's the way these companies work. After the meal, we then moved on to the bar for the evening for everyone else to mingle. One of the guys was surprisingly easy to get along with. He was with his partner, came across as genuine, and didn't try to make anything awkward. He introduced himself politely and afterward chatted for 5 minutes at the bar with me about normal stuff like work and football. Nothing that would be uncomfortable for any of us. Honestly, seemed like a decent guy. I felt the other guy was a different story. He wasn't rude, but an energy about him rubbed me the wrong way. He was there on his own, more happy to chat directly with those he already keeps company with, and had this cocky vibe. At one point, he did make a comment, which I could have interpreted as a dig, but it was vague and wasn't something I would justify with a reply if it were. The biggest thing for me was that the people who said I shouldn't go were wrong. I feared that we could be the target of jokes or that people would see me as weak for being uncomfortable about the situation. But that didn't happen. Most people either didn't know or didn't care about any past. If they did, they were respectful enough to leave it alone. The advice I got here about showing up for your significant other and focusing on our relationship instead of what others might think turned out to be spot on. The only thing that really mattered was how she and I felt about the night, and she was over the moon that I was there. She told me afterward how much it meant to her not going on her own, and honestly, that made any awkwardness. I felt totally worth it.